Indian polity, Union and its territory. 1 to 4 under the part of the Constitution deal with the Union and its Union of the States. Article 1 describes the India that is the Bharat as a union of the states rather than the federation of the state. These provisions deals with the two things: one, name of the country, and two, types of the polity. There are no unanimity in the Constitution Assembly with regard to the name of the country. Some members suggested the traditional name Bharat, while others advocated the modern name India. Hence, the Constitutional Assembly had to adopt a mix of the both India, that is Bharat. Secondly, the country is described as the union, although its constitution is a federal in the structure. According to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the phrase the union of the states has been preferred to the federation of the state for the two reasons. One, the Indian Federation is not the result of the agreement among the states like the American Federation, and two, the states have no rights to succeed from the Federation. The Federation is and the Union because it is the indestructible. The country is an integral whole and divided into the different states only for the convenience of the administration. According to the article number 1, the territory of the India can be classified into the three categories. Number 1, territories of the states. Number 2, union territories. And third, territories that may be acquired by the government of the India at any time. The names of the states and the union territories and their territorial extent are mentioned into the first schedule of the Constitution. At the present, there are the 28 states of the 9 union territories. The provisions of the Constitution pertaining to the states are applicable to the owned states into the same manner. However, the special provisions under the part of the 21 applicable to the states of the Maharashtra, Gujarat, Nagaland, Assam, Manipur, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Sikkim, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, and Karnataka override the general provisions relating to the states as a class. Further, the fifth and the sixth schedules contains the separate provisions with respect to the administration of the scheduled areas and the tribal areas within the states. Notably, the territory of the India is a wider expression than to the Union of the India because the latter includes the only states, while the former includes not only the state but also the union territories and the territories that may be acquired by the government of India at any further time. The states are the members of the federal system and to share a distribution of the powers with the center. The union territories and the acquired territories, on the other hand, are directly administered by the central government. Being a sovereign state, India can be acquired foreign territories according to the modes recognized by the international law, that is to say, cession, following treaty, purchase, gift, lease, or the plebiscite, occupation, hitherto occupied by the recognized rulers, conquest, or the subjugation. For example, India acquired several foreign territories such as Nagar Haveli, Goa, Daman, Diu, Pondicherry, and Sikkim since the commencement of the Constitution. The acquisition of these territories are discussed in the letter in this chapter. Article number 2 empowers the Parliament to admit into the unions of the India or establish new state under such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. Thus, Article 2 grants two powers of the Parliament: A, the power to admit into the Union India new states, and B, the power of the establishment of new states. The first refers to the admissions of the state which are already into the existence, while into the second refers to the establishment of the states which were not into the existence before. Notably, Article 2 relates to the admissions or the establishment of the new state that are not part of the Union of the India. Article 3, on the other hand, relates to the formation of or the changes into the existing state of the Union of the India. In other words, Article 3 deals with the internal readjustment inter se of the territories of the constituted states of the Union of the India. Parliament's power to reorganize the states. The article number 3 authorizes the Parliament to form a new state by the separation of the territory from any state, or by uniting two or more states or the parts of the state, or by uniting any territory or to a part of any state. B, increases the area of any state. C, that diminishes the area of any state. D, alter the boundaries of any state. And E, alter the name of any state. However, article number 3 lays down two conditions in this regard. One, a being contemplating the above changes can be introduced into the parliament only with the prior recommendation of the president. And two, before the recommending the bill, the president has to be refer the same to the state legislature concerned for the expressing its views within the specified period. Further, the power of the parliament to form the new states, including the power to form a new state or the union territory by the uniting a part of the any state or the union territories to any other state or the union territory. The president or the parliament is not bound to be the views of the state legislature and may either accept or reject them, even if the views are received in the time. Further, it is not necessary to make the press reference to the state legislature every time an amendment to the bill is moved and accepted into the parliament. In case of the union territory, no reference need to be made to the concerned legislature to the ascertain its view, and to the parliament can be itself take any action as it deems fit. It is thus clear that the constitutional authority, the parliament, to form the new states or the alter the areas, boundaries, or the name of the existing state without their consent. In other words, the parliament can redraw the political map of the India according to its will. Hence, the territorial integrity or the continued existence of the any state is not guaranteed by the constitution. Therefore, India is rightly described as an indestructible union. The union government can destroy the states, whereas the state government cannot destroy the union. In USA, on the other hand, the territorial integrity or the continued existence of the state is guaranteed by the Constitution. The American Federation government cannot form new states or alter the borders of the existing state without the consent of the state concerned. That is why USA is described as the indestructible union of the indestructible states. Moreover, the Constitution, Article number 4, itself declares that the laws made for the admission or the re-establishment of the new state under the article number 2 and the formation of the new states and the alteration of the areas, boundaries, or the names of the existing state under the article number 3 or the not to be the considered as the amendments of the constitution under the article 368. This means that such a law can be passed by the simple majority or by the ordinary legislative process. Thus, the power of the parliament to diminish the areas of the state under article number 3 include also the power to seize the Indian territory to a foreign country. This question came up for the examination before the Supreme Court into the reference made by the President into 1960. The decision of the central government to cede the part of the territory known as the Berubari Union, West Bengal, to the Pakistan lead to the political agitation and the controversy and thereby necessitated the presidential reference. The Supreme Court held that the power of the parliament to diminish the area of the state under the article number 3 does not cover cession of the Indian territory to a foreign country. Hence, the Indian territory can be ceded to the foreign state only by amending the constitution under the article number 368. Consequently, the 9th Constitutional Amendment Act 1960 was enacted to transfer the said territory to the Pakistan. On the other hand, the Supreme Court in 1969 ruled that the settlement of the boundary dispute between the India and another country does not require a constitutional amendment. It can be done by the executive action as it does not involve the cession of the Indian territory to the foreign country. Exchange of the territories with the Bangladesh. The 100th Constitutional Amendment Act to give effect to the acquiring of the certain territories by the India and the transfer of the certain of the territories to the Bangladesh in the pursuance of the agreement and its protocol entered into between the governments of the India and the Bangladesh. Under this deal, India transferred 111 enclaves to the Bangladesh, while the Bangladesh transferred 51 enclaves to the India. In addition, the deal also involved the transfer of the adverse possessions and the demarcation of a 6.1 kilometer undemarcated border stretch. For these three purposes, the amendment modified the provinces relating to the territories of the four states, Assam, West Bengal, Meghalaya, and Tripura. In the first schedule of the Constitution, the background of this amendment is as follows. 1. India and Bangladesh have a common land boundary of the approximate 4,096.7 km. The India-East Pakistan land boundary was determined as per the Red Cliff Award of the 1947. Disputes arises out of the some provisions in the Red Cliff Award which were sought to be the resolved through the Bague Award of the 1950. Another effort was made to settle this dispute by the Nehru-Noon Agreement into 1958. However, the issue relating the division of the Polity Union was challenged before the Supreme Court to comply with the opinion rendered by the Supreme Court. The Constitution 9th Amendment Act 1960 was passed by the Parliament due to the continuous litigation and other political developments at that time. The Constitution 9th Amendment Act 1960 could not be notified in the respect of the territories in the former East Pakistan, presently Bangladesh. Second, on the May 16, 1974, the agreement between India and Bangladesh concerning the demarcation of the land boundary and the related matters was signed between the both countries to find a solution to the complex nature of the border demarcation involved. This agreement was not ratified as it involved the inter-India transfer of the territory, which required constitutional amendment. In this connection, it was also required to identify the precise area on the ground which would be transferred. Subsequently, the issues relating to the demarcation of the undemarcated boundary, the territories in adverse possessions, and the exchange of the enclave were identified and resolved by the signing a protocol on the September 6, 2011, which forms an integral part of the land boundary agreement between the India and the Bangladesh 1974. The protocol was prepared with the support and the concurrence of the concerned state governments of the Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, and the West Bengal. Evolution of the states and the union territories. Integration of the princely states. At the time of the independence, the India comprises two categories of the political units, namely the British provinces under the direct rule of the British government and the princely states under the rule of the native princes, but subject to the paramountcy of the British Crown. The Indian Independence Act 1947 created two independent and separate dominions of the India and the Pakistan and gave three options to the princely state: joining India, joining Pakistan, or the remaining independent. Of the 552 princely states situated within the geographical boundaries of the India, 549 joined the India, and the remaining three, Hyderabad, Junagadh, and Kashmir, refused to join India. However, in course of the time, they were also integrated within the India. Hyderabad by means of the police action, Junagadh by means of the referendum, and Kashmir by the instrument of the accession. In the 1950, the Constitution contained the four-fold classification of the states and the territories of the Indian Union: Part A, B, C, Part C states, and Part D territories. In all, they number 29. Part A states comprise 9 erstwhile governors provisions of the British India. Part B states consist of the 9 erstwhile princely states with the designation, and Part C states consist of the erstwhile chief commissioners provision of the British India and some of the erstwhile princely states. Part C states, in all 10 in the number, were centrally administered. The Andaman and the Nicobar Islands were kept as the solitary Part D territories. Third Commission and the JVP Committee. The integration of the princely state with the rest of the India has purely an ad hoc arrangement. There have been the demand from the different regions, particularly South India, for the reorganization of the states on the linguistic basis. Accordingly, in the June 1948, the government of the India appointed by the Linguistic Provisions Commission under the chairmanship of the S.K. Dhar to examine the feasibility of this. The commission submitted its report into the December 1948 and recommended a reorganization of the states on the basis of the administrative convenience rather than the linguistic factor. This created much resentment and led to the appointment of the another linguistic provincials committed by the Congress in the December 1948 itself to examine the whole question afresh. It consisted of the Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel, and Patbhai Sitaramaiah, and hence was popularly known as the JVP Committee. It submitted its report in the April 1949 and formally rejected language as the basis of the reorganization of the state territories of the India into the 1950. State A. States into the Part A: Assam, Bihar, Bombay, Madhya Pradesh, Madras, Orissa, Punjab, United Provinces, and West Bengal. States into the Part B: Hyderabad, Jammu Kashmir, Madhya Bharat, Mysore, Patiala, and East Punjab, Rajasthan, Saurashtra, Travancore, Cochin, Vidya Pradesh. States into the Parsi: Ajmer, Bhopal, Bisalpur, Koch, Bihar, Kurg, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Kutch, Manipur, Tripura. And territory in the Parsi, Andaman Nicobar Island. Original parts of the constitution dealing with the state. Part 6, the state of the Part A of the first schedule, Article 152 to 237. Part 7, the states into the Part B of the first schedule, Article 238. Part 8, the states into the Part C of the first constitution, 239 to 242. Part 9, the territories of the Part D of the first schedule and the another territories not specified into the schedule 243. However, October 1953, the government of India was forced to create the first linguistic state known as the Andhra state by the separating Telugu-speaking areas from the Madras state. This followed a prolonged popular agitation and the death of the Potti Srimamulu, a Congress person of the standing, after a 56-day hunger strike for the cause. Fazal Ali Commission. The creation of the Andhra state intensified the demand for the other regions for the creation of the states on a linguistic basis. This forces the government of India to appoint in December 1953 a three-member state reorganization committee under the chairmanship of the Fazal Ali to re-examine the whole question. Its other two members were K.M. Panikar and H.N. Kunjuru. It submitted its report into the September 1955 and broadly accepted the language as the basis of the reorganization of the states, but it rejected the theory of the one language, one state. Its view was that the unity of the India should be regarded as the primary consideration in any redrawing of the country's political units. It identified four major factors that can be taken into the account in any schemes of the reorganization of the state. A. Preservation and the strengthening of the unity and the security of the country. B. Linguistic and cultural homogeneity. C. Financial, economical and administrative considerations. D. Planning and the promotion of the welfare of the people in the each state as well as of the nation as a whole. Territory of the India into 1956 states: Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Bombay, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Madras, Mysore, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. Union territories: Andaman Nicobar Island, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Lakshadweep, Minicoy, Aminides Island, Manipur and Tripura. The Commission suggested the abolition of the fourfold classification of the states and the territories under the original constitution and the creation of the 16th state and the creation and the three centrally administered territories. The government of India accepted this recommendation with the certain minor modification by the State Reorganization Act 1956 and the 7th Constitutional Amendment Act 1956. The distinction between the Part A and the B states was done away with. The Part C states were abolished. Some of them were merged with the adjacent state and some other were designated as the union territories. As a result, 14 states and 6 union territories were created on November 1, 1956. The States Reorganization Act 1956 established the new state of the Kerala by merging the Travancore and the Cochin state with the Malabar district of the Madras state and the Kasargode of the South Kannada, Dakshin Kannada. It merged the Telugu-speaking areas of the Hyderabad state with the Andhra state to create the Andhra Pradesh state. Further, it merged the Madhya Bharat state, Vindhya Pradesh state and the Bhopal state into Madhya Pradesh state. Similarly, it merged the Saurashtra state and the Kutch state into the Bombay state, the Kurg state into that Mysore state, the Patiala and the East Punjab state union of Pepsu into that of the Punjab state and the Ajmer state in that of the Rajasthan state. Moreover, it created the new union territories of the Lakshadweep, Minicoy and the Aminides Island from the territories detached from the Madras state. new states and the union territories created after 1956. Even after the large-scale reorganization of the state in the 1956, the political map of the India underwent the continuous changes due to the pressure of the popular agitations and the political conditions. The demand for the creation of some more states on the basis of the language and the cultural homogeneity resulted into the bifurcation of the existing states, Maharashtra and Gujarat. In the 1960s, the bilingual state of the Bombay was divided into the two separate states, Maharashtra for the Marathi-speaking people and the Gujarat for the Gujarati-speaking people. Gujarat was established as the 15th state of the Indian Union, Dadra and the Nagar Haveli. The Portuguese ruled this territory until its liberation in the 1954. Subsequently, the administration was carried out until the 1961 by the administrator chosen by the people themselves. It was converted into the Union Territory of the Indian by the 10th Constitution Amendment Act 1961, Goa, Daman and Diu. India acquired these three territories from the Portuguese by the means of the police action in the 1961. They were constituted as the Union Territories by the 10th Constitution Amendment Act 1962. Later, in the 1987, Goa was converted as statehood. Consequently, Daman and Diu was made a separate Union Territory. Pondicherry. The territories of the Pondicherry comprises the former French establishment in the India known as Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahe and Yanam. The French handed over this territory to the India in 1954. Subsequently, it was administered as the acquired territory in 1962 when it was made a union territory by the 14th Constitution Amendment Act. Nagaland. In the 1963, the state of the Nagaland was formed by the taking the Naga Hills and the Tunsang area out of the state of the Assam. This was done to satisfy the movement of the hostile Nagas, whoever before the giving Nagaland the status of the 16th state of the Indian Union. It was placed under the control of the governor of the Assam in 1961, Haryana, Chandigarh and Himachal Pradesh. In the 1966, the state of the Punjab was bifurcated to create Haryana, the 17th state of the Indian Union and the Union Territory of the Chandigarh. This followed the demand of the separate Sikh homeland, Punjabi Subha, and raised by the Akali-Dal under the leadership of the Master Tara Singh. On the recommendation of the Shah Commission 1966, the Punjab-speaking area were constituted into the unlingual state of the Punjab. The Hindi-speaking areas were constituted into the state of the Haryana, and the Hinds area were merged with the adjoining Union Territory of the Himachal Pradesh. In the 1971, the Union Territory of the Himachal Pradesh was elevated to the state of the 18th state of the Indian Union, Manipur, Tripura and Meghalaya. In 1972, the political map of the Northeast India underwent a major change. Thus, the two union territories of the Manipur and the Tripura and the sub-state of the Meghalaya got statehood, and the two union territories, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh, originally known as the Northeast Frontier Agency, came into the being. With this, the number of the state of the union increased to the 21, Manipur 19, Tripura 20 and Meghalaya 21. Initially, the 22nd Constitution Amendment Act 1969 created Meghalaya as an autonomous state or the sub-state within the state of the Assam with its own legislature council of the minister. However, this did not satisfy the aspiration of the people of the Meghalaya. The union territories of the Mizoram and the Arunachal Pradesh were also formed out of the territories of the Assam. Sikkim. In 1947, Sikkim was the Indian princely state ruled by the Chogyan. In the 1947, after the lapse of the British paramountcy, Sikkim became a protectorate of the India, whereby the Indian government assumed the responsibility for the defense, external affairs, and the communications of the Sikkim. In the 1974, Sikkim expressed its desire for the greater association with the India. According to the 35th Constitutional Amendment Act 1974 was enacted by the Parliament. This amendment introduced a new class of the statehood under the Constitution by the confirming on the Sikkim the status of the associate state of the Indian Union. For this purpose, a new Article 2A and a new schedule, 10th schedule containing the terms and the conditions of the association were inserted into the Constitution. This experiment, however, did not last long as it could not fully satisfy the aspirations of the people of the Sikkim. In the referendum held into the 1975, they voted for the abolition of the institution of the Chogyal and to the Sikkim become the integral part of the India. Consequently, the 36th Constitutional Amendment Act 1975 was enacted to make Sikkim a full-fledged state of the Indian Union, the 22nd state. This amendment amended the first and the fourth schedule to the Constitution and added new Article 371F to provide for certain special provisions with respect to the administration of the Sikkim. It also repealed the Act 2A and the 10th schedule that were added by the 35th Amendment Act of the 1974. Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh and Goa. In the 1987, three new states of the Mizoram 14, Arunachal Pradesh 15 and Goa 16 came into the being as the 23rd, 24th and the 25th state of the Indian Union respectively. The Union territories of the Mizoram was conferred the status of the full state as a sequence to the signing of the Memorandum of the Settlement Mizoram Peace Accord into the 1986 between the central government and the Mizo National Front, ending the two-decade-old insurgency. Arunachal Pradesh had also been a union territory from the 1972. The state of the Goa was created by the separating the territory of the Goa from the union territory of the Goa, Daman and the Diu, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand. In 2003, more new states of the Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand were created out of the territories of the Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, respectively. This became the 26th, 27th and the 28th state of the Indian Union respectively. Telangana. In the 2014, a new state of the Telangana came into existence as the 29th state of the Indian Union. It was carved out of the territories of the Andhra Pradesh. The Andhra State Act 1953 formed the first linguistic state of the India known as the state of the Andhra by taking out the Telugu-speaking areas from the state of the Madras, now Tamil Nadu. Kurnool was a capital of the Andhra Pradesh and that state high court was established in the Guntur. The State Reorganization Act 1956 merged the Telugu-speaking areas of the Hyderabad state with the Andhra state to create the enlarged Andhra Pradesh state. The capital of the state was shifted to the Hyderabad. Again, the Andhra Pradesh Reorganized Act 2014 bifurcated the Andhra Pradesh into the two separate states, namely the Andhra Pradesh Residuary and the Telangana. Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. In the 2019, erstwhile state of the Jammu and Kashmir had its own constitution, thus they enjoyed a special status by the virtue of the Article 370 of the Constitution of the India. In the 2019, this special status was abolished by the presidential order known as the Constitutional Application of the Jammu Kashmir Order 2019. This order superseded the earlier order known as the Constitutional Application of the Jammu and Kashmir Order 1954. The 2019 order extended all the provinces of the Constitution of the India to the Jammu and Kashmir also. However, the inoperative Article 370 continued to remain into the text of the Constitution of the India. Further, the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019 bifurcated the erstwhile state of the Jammu Kashmir into the two separate union territories, namely Union Territories of the Jammu and Kashmir and the Union Territory of the Ladakh. Thus, the number of the states and the union territories increased from the 14 and the 6 to 1956 to the 28 and the 9 into the 2019 respectively. Changes of the name. The name of the some states and the union territory have also been changed. The United Provinces was first stated to have a new name. It was renamed Uttar Pradesh in 1950. In the 1969, Madras was renamed Tamil Nadu. Similarly, in the 1973, Mysore was renamed Karnataka. In the same year, Lakadiv, Minicoy and the Aminadiv Island were renamed Nakshadweep. In 1992, the Union Territory of the Dindi was redesignated as the National Capital Territory of the Dindi without being conferred the status of the full-fledged state by the 69th Constitutional Amendment Act 1991. In 2006, Uttaranchal was renamed as the Uttarakhand. In the same year, Pondicherry was renamed as a Pondicherry. In the 2011, Odisha was renamed as Odisha. Territories of India in the 2019. states: Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, Sikkim, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Tripura, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh. And now the Union Territories: Andaman and Nicobar Island, Chandigarh, Dadra-Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, Delhi National Capital Territory, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Lakshadweep, and Pondicherry. And under Article 3 of the Constitution: 1. Assam, Alteration of the Boundaries Act 1951. Alter the boundaries of the state of the Assam by the seceding the strips of the territory comprised in the state of the Bhutan. Andhra State Act 1953 formed the first linguistic state known as the state of the Andhra by taking out the Telugu-speaking areas from the state of the Madras. Kurnool was capital of the Andhra state, and the state high court was established in the Guntur. Himachal Pradesh and the Bilaspur New State Act 1954 formed a new state of the Himachal Pradesh by uniting the existing state of the Himachal Pradesh and the Bilaspur. Chandernagore merged Act 1954 merged the territory of the Chandernagore, a former enclave of the French India, into the state of the West Bengal. State Reorganization Act 1956 made the extensive change into the boundaries of the various states for the purpose of meeting the linguistic, regional, and the local demand. It created 14 states and 6 union territories. The states were Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Bombay, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Madras, Mysore, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal. The union territories were Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Lakshadweep, Minicoy, and the Ammandiv Island, Manipur, and the Tripura. It established the new state of the Kerala by merging the Travancore Cochin state with the Malabar district of the Madras state and the Kasaragod of the South Canara, Dakshin Kannada. It merged the Telugu-speaking areas of the Hyderabad state with the Andhra state to create the Andhra Pradesh state. Further, it merged the Madhya Bharat state, Vindhya Pradesh state, and the Bhopal state into the Madhya Pradesh state. Similarly, it merged the state of the Kutch state, Saurashtra state, and the Kutch state into the Bombay state, the Coorg state into the Mysore state, the Patiala and the East Punjab state, Union Pepsu into the Punjab state, and the Ajmer state into Rajasthan state. Moreover, it created new union territories of the Lakshadweep, Minicoy, Ammandiv Island from the territory detached from the Madras state. Bihar and the West Bengal Transfer of the Territory Act 1956 provided for the transfer of the certain territories from the state of the Bihar to the state of the West Bengal. The Rajasthan and the Madhya Pradesh Transfer of the Territories Act 1959 provided for the transfer of the certain territories state of the Rajasthan to the state of the Madhya Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh and the Madras Alteration Boundaries Act 1959 provided for the alteration of the boundaries of the state of the Andhra Pradesh and the Madras. Bombay Reorganization Act 1960 formed the new state of the Gujarat 15th state by the taking out the Gujarati-speaking areas from the state of the Bombay and renamed the other part of the Bombay state as the Maharashtra state. The city of the Ahmedabad was made the capital of the Gujarat. Acquiring Territory Merger Act 1960 provided the merger into the state of the Assam, Punjab, and the West Bengal of the certain territories acquired from the Pakistan under agreement entered between the governments of the India and the Pakistan in the 1958 and the 1959. State of the Nagaland Act in the 1962 formed the new state of the Nagaland 16th state by the taking out the Naga Hills Tunsang area from the state of the Assam. The Naga Hills Tunsang area was the tribal area of the Assam specified into the 6th schedule of the Constitution. The Punjab Reorganization Act of 1966 formed the new state of the Haryana 17th state by the taking out the Hindi-speaking areas from the state of the Punjab. It also made the Chandigarh a new union territory as well as the common capital for the both Punjab and the Haryana. 13. Bihar and the Uttar Pradesh Alteration of the Boundary Act 1968 provided the alteration of the boundaries of the state of the Bihar and the Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh and Mysore Transfer of the Territory 1968 provided the transfer of the certain territories from the state of the Mysore and the state to the state of the Andhra Pradesh. Madras State Alteration Name Act 1968, the change of the name of the state of the Madras to that of the state of the Tamil Nadu. Assam Reorganization Meghalaya Act 69 formed an autonomous state, sub-state known as the Meghalaya within the state of the Assam. The state of the Himachal Pradesh Act 1970 innovated the Union Territory of the Himachal Pradesh to the status of the state 18 state. Northeastern Areas Reorganization Act 1971 innovated the two union territories of the Manipur and the Tripura to the status of the state, 19th state and the 20th state respectively. It also conferred the full statehood of the on the Meghalaya 21st state, which was previously and the sub-state within the state of the Assam. Further, it formed the two union territories of the Mizoram and the Arunachal Pradesh and the out of the territories of the Assam. 19. Mysore State, alteration of the name Act 1973, changed the name of the state of the Mysore to the state of the Karnataka. 20. Lakshadweep, Minikoy and the Amity Island, alteration of the name Act 1973, changed the name of the Union Territory of the Lakshadweep, Minikoy and the Amity Island to the Union Territory of the Lakshadweep. 21. Haryana and the Uttar Pradesh Alteration of the Boundary Act 1979 provided for the alteration of the boundaries of the state of the Haryana and the Uttar Pradesh. 22. State of the Mizoram Act 1989 innovated the Union Territory of the Mizoram to the state of the state, the 23rd state. State of the Arunachal Pradesh Act 1986 innovated the Union Territory of the Arunachal Pradesh to the state of the state 24th state. Goa, Daman and the Diu Reorganization Act 1987 formed the new state of the Goa, 25th state, by the separating the territory of the Goa from the Union Territory of the Goa, Daman and the Diu. 25th, Madhya Pradesh Reorganization Act formed the new state, Chhattisgarh, 26th state, out of the territories of the state of the Madhya Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh Reorganization Act 2000 created a new state of the Uttaranchal, 27th state, by the carving out the territories from the territories of the Uttar Pradesh. 27. Bihar Reorganization Act 2000 established the new state of the Jharkhand, 28th state, by the separating the territories from the territories of the state of the Bihar. Uttaranchal alteration of the name Act 2006 changed the name of the Uttaranchal to the state of the Uttarakhand. Pondicherry Alteration Name Act 2006 renamed the Union Territory of the Pondicherry as the Union Territory of the Pondicherry. Odisha Alteration Name Act 2011 changed the name of the state of the Odisha to that of the state of the Odisha. Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act 2014 formed a new state of the Telangana, 29th state, by the carving out its territory from the territories of the state of the Andhra Pradesh. Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019 bifurcated the erstwhile state of the Jammu and Kashmir into the two separate union territories, namely Union Territories of the Jammu and Kashmir and the Union Territory of the Ladakh. Article related Union and the territories at glance. Number 1. Name of the territory of the Union. Number 2. Administration of the establishment of the new states. 2a. Sikkim to be the associated with the Union Repaint. Number 3. Formation of the new state and the alteration of the areas, boundaries or the names of the existing state. Number 4. Law made under the Article 2 and the 3 to provide for the amendment of the first and the fourth schedules and supplemented the incidental and the consequential matters. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you very much.